Very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our panelists today. I want to talk about the See Something, Say Something campaign. The campaign is simple, and many of the thwarted terrorist attacks in the U.S. were stopped because everyday people alerted authorities to suspicious behavior. So I'd like to get a better sense of whether your companies fully embrace this See Something, Say Something campaign. While I understand that most of you shut down accounts that espouse violent extremist propaganda, it's not clear that you proactively report those accounts to law enforcement. Here's an example of why that makes us less safe. In 2012, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, one of the Boston Marathon bombers, posted on YouTube several videos espousing al-Qaeda propaganda under the name Muaz. At the time, the FBI was unaware of this account. However, the FBI had previously investigated Tamerlan thanks to a tip from the Russians, but found nothing to corroborate the Russians' claims. In September 2012, Tamerlan applied for U.S. citizenship with DHS. As part of the vetting process, DHS instructed the FBI to run a check on the application, which came up all clear. However, in his application, Tamerlan revealed that he tried to change his legal name to Muaz, the same name as his YouTube account. 8 months later, Tamerlan orchestrated a terrorist attack with his brother that resulted in the death of 4 people and almost 300 injured. In hindsight, if YouTube had reported Muaz's troubling social media account to the FBI, then maybe the FBI would have been able to link Tamerlan to Muaz's extremist YouTube account when Tamerlan was applying for citizenship. That could have prompted the FBI to reopen a closed terrorism investigation just weeks before Tamerlan carried out this awful, tragic bombing. So to Mr. Monet and Ms. Bickett and Ms. Downs, I'd like to understand how and when your companies report extremist accounts to law enforcement. Has it changed since the days of the Boston Marathon bomber?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. When we are aware of an imminent threat, we absolutely do proactively reach out to law enforcement whenever they come to us and ask for information, as long as they have the right process, which we are very good with working them to figure out. We will respond as quickly as we can.
Thank you, Ms. Downs.
Thank you, Senator. We also cooperate with law enforcement pursuant to valid legal process, including the emergency disclosure provisions, where if we detect any content on our services that poses a threat to life, we proactively report it to law enforcement.
And Ms. Bickert?
Thank you, Senator. The same answer.
Okay, well, I thank you. I will say that the See Something, Say Something campaign is premised on something a little bit different than what you just all said. So, because it's premised on if you think, not does this meet my definition of imminent danger? But we ask members of the public, if they see something suspicious, to step up. And what you're all saying is if it meets certain criteria or if you're asked. And I think that's a little bit different. So let me follow up with Mr. Watts. As a former federal law enforcement officer, how would you grade these companies' performance in addressing violent extremist accounts? Do you think they can do more to actively support federal law enforcement and counterterrorism officials?
Over the last decade or so, they've all done better. Facebook and Google have outpaced Twitter. Twitter, in my opinion, relies too much on technical signatures and doesn't staff on the threat intelligence level to the extent that they should.
Thank you very much, and thank you. That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator.